Welcome to another inspiring story on our channel. Today, we bring you the price of a dream, a tale of struggle, sacrifice, and success. Meet Arun, a young boy from a poor village who dared to dream big. But behind every dream, there is a price to pay. What challenges did he and his family face? How did he overcome them? Stay with us till the end to find out this heart-touching journey of hope and determination. Once in a small village, there lived a boy named Arun. He was 12 years old and had big dreams. Arun wanted to become a doctor. He saw many sick people in his village. Some could not afford medicine. Some had to walk miles to see a doctor. Arun wanted to help them. But his family was poor. His father, Ramesh, worked as a farmer, and his mother, later, stayed at home and took care of Arun and his little sister, Meena. They had little money, and sometimes, they had to skip meals when the harvest was not good. Ramesh worked long hours in the fields, ploughing the land under the scorching sun. His hands were rough, covered with callus from years of hard labor. He would wake up before sunrise, take his old plough, and guide his pair of oxen across the dry soil. Some years, the monsoon rains were kind, and the crops grew well, bringing food and some extra money. But other years, the rains did not come, and the fields dried up. The family suffered greatly during those times, barely making ends meet. Ramesh often had to borrow money from the village lender, who charged high interest. The debt kept growing, and so did his worries. He skipped meals, wore the same torn clothes for years, and worked even harder, hoping for a better future for his children. When the crops failed, Ramesh took up extra work to support his family. He would go to nearby villages and work on other people's farms for small wages. Sometimes, he would carry heavy sacks of grains in the market just to earn a little extra money. His body ached, but he never complained. His biggest wish was to see his son educated and successful. Every night, he sat on the mud floor, counting the few coins he had saved, thinking of ways to gather more for Arun's studies. Later, too, sacrificed a lot for her family. She woke up before dawn to fetch water from the well, walking miles with a heavy pot on her head. She cooked simple meals with whatever little grains they had, often eating less so that her children could have enough. She stitched clothes for the villagers and sold fresh vegetables in the market. Sometimes, she worked as a domestic helper in wealthier homes, cleaning floors and washing dishes. Her hands became rough, and her back hurt from bending all day, but she did not stop. She saved every little coin she earned, hoping to use it for Arun's education. At night, she sat near the small oil lamp, mending clothes, her fingers aching from the day's hard work. Despite her exhaustion, she always smiled at Arun and Meena, hiding her pain so they wouldn't worry. Many times, she sold her own jewelry just to buy books for Arun. She wore old sares, patched up many times, while she watched other women wear new clothes during festivals. But she never complained. Her children's future was more important than her own comfort. Later often went hungry so that Arun and Meena could eat. She pretended she was not hungry and told her children, "I ate earlier," even when she had nothing all day. She worked long hours, stitching clothes late into the night. Her eyes became weak from working in dim light, but she continued because she wanted to save more money for Arun's future. When Arun needed school fees, she sold her gold bangles, which were the only piece of jewelry her mother had given her. She never thought twice about giving away her belongings for her son's education. When Arun was sick, she stayed awake all night, placing a wet cloth on his forehead and praying for him to recover. When Arun went to school, she stitched an old school bag for him from used cloth. She polished his worn-out shoes so they looked new. When winter came, and there was no money for a sweater, she gave him her own shawl, shivering in the cold herself. She never let Arun see her struggles because she wanted him to focus on his studies and not worry about the hardships at home. Every day, Arun helped his father in the fields. He woke up early, carried water, and worked under the hot sun. He also helped his mother with household chores. Despite his exhaustion, he never forgot his dream. At night, he studied under a small lamp, sometimes staying up until midnight. His books were old, with torn pages, but he read them again and again. His teacher, Mr. Das, saw his hard work. One day, Mr. Das called him and said, "Arun, you are a bright student. If you study well, you can become a doctor. Never give up." Arun smiled. "I will not give up, sir. But I need money to study. My father cannot afford it." Mr. Das thought for a while. "I know someone who can help. There is a school in the city. They give scholarships to bright students. I will talk to them. You must prepare well." Arun was very happy. He studied harder. His mother packed his lunch every day and prayed for him. His father encouraged him. Days passed, and Arun gave the exam. When the results came, he had won the scholarship. But there was a problem. The school was in the city, far from the village. Arun needed money for travel and food. His father sold a small piece of land to send him to the city. It was a big sacrifice. Later cried silently, knowing they had given away their only security. Ramesh assured her, "It is for our son's future. We will manage somehow." But in reality, he did not know how they would survive with less land to farm. He started working extra hours, taking up small labor jobs in nearby villages, often returning home late at night, exhausted and covered in dust. Later began working even harder, stitching more clothes and waking up earlier to sell vegetables in the market. Their hands and feet ached, but they never complained. Arun reached the city. Everything was new. The roads were big, the houses tall, and people always looked busy. He felt lost at first. The city was noisy, and nobody knew him. He lived in a small room shared with 3 other students. He often slept on an empty stomach, because he did not have enough money. He missed his home, but he remembered his father's words. He studied hard. Sometimes, he had little food. Sometimes, he felt lonely. He missed his mother's cooking and Meena's laughter. But he never gave up. Years passed. Arun became a doctor. He came back to his village. People were happy. He opened a small clinic. He treated the sick. He helped the poor. His dream had come true. One day, his father sat beside him and said, "You worked hard, my son. You paid the price of a dream. And now, you are helping others." Arun held his father's hands and said, "Yes, Baba. A dream has a price. But if we work hard, it becomes real." The whole village celebrated Arun's success. His story inspired many children. They too started dreaming big. The little school in the village now had more students. Mr. Das was proud of Arun. And Arun. He smiled every day, knowing he had made a difference, not just for himself, but for his entire village. And so, Arun's dream came true, but it was not just his dream, it was the dream of his hard-working parents, his loving teacher, and his entire village. Dreams are not easy, but with hard work and sacrifice, they can become reality. What did you learn from this story? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. See you in the next video.